Alright, my mother subbers. So you all remember Steve-O from Jackass back in the day. A lot of you probably remember that, he went through, he had a tough time, addiction and stuff like that, and they overcame it and did really good. He had the little series on MTV with Chris Pontius, Wild Boys. So now he's got a podcast, of course, called Wild Ride. And on this one, I think it should be pretty good because he's got Bill Burr on it. I'm looking forward to it. Let's check it out.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a stellar Wild Ride with Steve-O. We've got Bill Burr. This guy is an icon. He is a legend. He's a hero to me, and he's always been so nice and supportive of me that I was really looking forward to the day that I would get up the courage to ask him to come on the Wild Ride podcast. And when I did, he said absolutely, and man, did we have a blast. Dude, we laughed so hard on this one, and it really is a lot of fun. Kind of like being at home.
Hello, sir.
Is there anything scarier than knocking on a van door? You're not sure?
Yeah, dude.
What's going on, dude? This is fucking cool.
What's up, dude?
It was so difficult for me to jump on the podcast bandwagon and become the guy asking the question, will you do my podcast? That the only way I could wrap my head around it was to...
Oh, you're a sweetheart.
Yeah, she is.
Part shepherd?
Belgian Malinois.
Street dog.
I found her in the streets of Peru.
See, who would let this sweetie go?
Nobody even got her in the first place.
Were there other dogs that looked like her in Peru?
There were rather a few, yeah. Yeah, so
I thought I was podcasting, so forgive my outfit. I was going to dress up a little more.
Oh, dude, not to worry. I thought about giving you a, hey, man, are we still on? But I figured I just wouldn't.
No, at some point I'm going to get an assistant.
I just got my first.
You know what my assistant is? Is people reminding me I'm supposed to be somewhere. I'm like, oh, thank you, Steve-O, for being my assistant today.
All right.
Yeah, checking in.
I'm editing a movie right now, right in there.
Nice,
so
dude.
I'll be promoting that shamelessly.
Oh, I love it.
Throughout this.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Burr.
What's going on?
Dude.
This is already my favorite podcast. To sit here petting a dog while doing a podcast is the most soothing afternoon ever.
Yeah. Man, well, it's an honor to have you, man. I was...
An honor, dude. You're a legend. I'm happy to be here. You've been making me laugh for fucking 20 years.
Well,
Nice.
dude, I appreciate that so much, man.
I think the last time we all saw each other was in New York City. You stopped by the show.
Oh, Caroline's. Yeah, I was psyched,
Yeah.
man. I said, it's Steve fucking headlining Caroline's. That's a huge one. Caroline's on Broadway.
It was really cool that you came over. And I've seen you since then when comedy started to start back up. And then we had the outdoor shows.
I was gonna say, what parking lot did I run into?
Right.
It's like, didn't you do a stunt out here years ago?
They set up in an alley off
Magic
Hollywood
Castle?
Boulevard. Not the Magic Castle.
That was a good gig.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one a drive-in?
Well, when they first had it, the first time I did it, I hadn't done stand-up in like, oh man, well, March was when the shit hit, right? Lockdown, and then we did I think I did that in like June or July. So I always wondered how people stop doing stand-up. It's like, how do you stop? It's so fun. How, like, do you know when it's your last one, right? So when this pandemic hit, remember in the beginning, everyone was like, oh, this is just gonna be like, about 14, 21 days, everybody stays inside, because that's what everybody's going to do.
To the curve.
Because everybody's going to play ball and just listen to the people. No, everybody did whatever the fuck they want to do, which is also what makes this country great. So then all of a sudden I took a month off. I'm thinking, well, I've been doing this shit almost 30 years. This is good to take some time off. And somewhere in May, I just stopped even thinking about stand-up. Just stopped thinking about it, because I usually, like, I see something, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to talk about that. That's basically how I come up with bits. I see something, I don't write it down, I just kind of go up and just riff on the bullshit, and hopefully it turns into something. And somewhere around May, like, I stopped doing that, and I was watching like cooking videos and shit, like learning souffles or whatever on the internet, and I had this big fucking panic attack, like going like, oh my god, like I kind of like through this virus have sort of quit doing comedy. So anyway, when the first one I did coming back was that one at the Magic Castle, and it was outdoors, which is always, you know,
Weird.
you always, if you're doing a show outside, you just automatically feel like you're bombing because like all the light, all the laughs just go up into the clouds and it doesn't come at you. Or if there's like a roof, you can feel like, okay, they still like me.
Yeah.
Let's see if they like me after this one, right?
For sure.
So that was all gone, and they were like in cars. And
beeping.
No, they had those, you know, those stupid things you go like this,
Yeah.
and it's two hands clapping. So it's like these plastic things. So you tell a joke out into this dark parking lot, and there would just be like this brutal pause that felt like a kick to the chest, and then you just hear a couple.
Yeah.
But couldn't they just clap at that point if they're holding a clapper? Like, what's the
You know,
difference?
Were they holding him
you know,
outside
yeah,
the windows
Most
doing
people,
it?
if they're just told to do something, they do it.
I guess
you know?
so, yeah, it's
that
like, well,
nobody
okay.
doesn't. People don't start to think, and then you have the other people who think too much, and then they start thinking the world's flat. But there is a sweet spot where
Yeah.
you're in a show.
Right.
Could be like, or I could just do this,
Right.
and then they were like, they would flick their lights, they beeped, but what I got out of it, it was funny. It was a one show adjustment. By the second show, like those little tick, 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 tick things. I got in the mindset like, oh, this is what killing sounds like. All right, and or having a good set sounds like. But what I got out of it was like the I was saying when I was on there, I go, when this fucking pandemic is over, and somebody says to you, hey man, I am the biggest fan of stand-up comedy, you have to say, oh yeah, did you sit in your Ford Focus in a fucking parking lot with plastic hands
Those are the
because you
diehards.
missed hearing jokes? I was like, you guys, yeah, you're like the people that went through like the Depression or the Dust Bowl of like comedy. You can say, I was there, man.
That's
I
funny.
fucking showed up. Where were you?
Yeah.
Weren't you relieved when were you touring when the pandemic happened and then you didn't have to get on the plane? You're like, oh, thank God.
I'll tell you the one thing I did not miss was LAX.
For sure.
Yeah.
I every time I go into LAX, all it is you just want to get to your seat on the plane and know that your bag fit.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, now I have the amazing technology of travel where I'm going to go across the country, and what used to take people, you know, months, and they die and shit. I'm going to do this in 6 hours. I'm going to fucking complain. Louis C.K. had a great bit about that. And I never forgot that because I was one of those people bitching on the plane. And I saw Louis one time on Conan just going, dude, you're in the fucking sky. Oh, the internet doesn't work. It's like, you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
flying
What
over
you're
Like,
doing
really?
is
Did you
amazing.
fly?
I'm so guilty.
You used to have to like hike through the fucking mountains, and we're just flying over them. You just sitting there, Jesus Christ,
wearing suits
we're only
in
in
like
Denver.
Yeah.
You know, I was totally one of those guys. It was one of the, like my favorite bits that I love, and Louis does this a lot in guys of his caliber, where they sort of expose you for the shithead you are, and it's those jokes are the best when you're by yourself because you can't play it off. You just got to sit there like, yeah, he's right.
Dude, I'm 100% guilty of complaining. I complained about airports and airplanes so much. Like, I can't. After the pandemic, when we came back and we had to wear the fucking masks, and just like after that break, it was so much harder to get through an airport and a flight.
And they were like delayed more because there was no people flying.
Right.
I was a big mask guy, dude. I loved them.
I'm down for them.
I loved the mask. I fucking loved the mask.
You like
I
wearing
don't-
it? Or you like other people wearing it? Like,
I mean,
Everybody just
I've
keeps
given up
themselves.
on all of that or whatever, because I don't even know if they even fucking worked at this point. You know
Sure.
what I mean? But I was gonna listen to some shithead who has no medical degree tell me they don't fucking work. Oh, is that what your fucking degree, your lack of a degree tells you? It's just like,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go with the liars I know, rather than people that, you know that they're being lied to. But then it's like, well, then now what do I do? Now I'm going to step off into the wild and just assume because someone got kicked out of the medical field that they were one of the good guys that get. Not everybody who gets kicked out of the medical field gets kicked out because they're a good person and they're telling the truth. There is that.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, pharmaceutical companies, synthetic heroin, all kinds of crazy shit that they don't get called on, killing a bunch of people. So I understood where like that was coming from, but like, I was in my emotions like everybody else, and you just wanted it to be over, and it was just like, just do what they say, so at least we're all on the same page, so they can get some sort of analytics to try to get us out of it. So I was into that for a while, and then after a while, I was just like, I'm just gonna sound like the old man. Pick up your trash. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do what I think everybody at some point came to. I'm gonna do what feels right and then like that. But I gotta be honest with you, I miss the mask. I miss it, dude. Dude, you get out of so many fucking conversations. Like, conversations become quicker. It's like, what? It just becomes really efficient, and then you just get the fuck out of there, and then it's like, there's no record of you really being there. You're always just walking around like you're robbing a bank. It was kind of fucking awesome.
I was in an airport yesterday, and I had two thoughts as I walked in. Oh, I don't have to wear a mask. But then my next thought was, oh, but I'm about to walk into, like, the hell of taking pictures every fucking 5 seconds. And I was like, man, I had a panic that I didn't have my mask in my pocket. It's like, man, I just want to cover my face.
Yeah, it's like a comfort
I fortunately
thing.
don't really have to deal with that, which is good. No, this guy's like fucking movie star, man. Like, I have my niche. I got my shit jokes and the people that like it, and I'll just run into somebody like, hey, you're that guy, right? It's like, yeah, I like being at that level.
I think with you, though, people are like, might be timid to come up because you might just roast the shit out of them if they come wrong or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think that I'm...
No, I just tease people if they're being...
Yeah.
Like, I went to this thing the other day, right? It was this thing that was disguised as a brunch, and it just turned out to be this big marketing meeting. It was fucking hilarious. So I'm sitting there, and I'm eating this lamb chop, and this guy comes up to me and starts talking to me. And I just looked at him. I was like, you know, you had 3 hours and 55 minutes to not talk to me when I was eating a lamb chop. I'm going to be here for 4 hours. Can I just eat this thing? Are you going to keep asking me right after I took a bite? He was another comedian, and he laughed, and he's a friend of mine and everything like that. But then, of course, he rolled with it. He's like, no, man, I'm going to talk to you through this whole fucking lamb chop. Then it became fun, and it didn't bother me because it became a bit. But if somebody's just doing it, then it's annoying. So I found with people like that, I mean, that, you know, it's cool that they want to talk to you and that type of stuff. So, like, you always have to be like, okay, somebody could not be doing this, but the payoff then is I'm selling no tickets, and I'm back to that, you know, sitting in that fucking one-bedroom apartment with my IKEA furniture.
Yeah.
And all kinds of rug available for yoga because I don't have any money. So I would rather have this
all these
existence,
podcasters
but the
got
happy
the
medium
liquid death.
of that, selling tickets,
right,
and living a great life.
Cans
is
of liquid
wearing a
death
mask.
just sitting around.
That's why I wish I was Asian, because I could get away with it. Because they've been wearing them for, like, the Asians are the shit, man. They've been wearing them since fucking SARS. They used to wear them on the plane when they had a cold. Just because they had a cold, and the level of consideration, I don't want to give it to the rest of the plane.
Nobody does that.
Is amazing. But if you've ever been over to Asia, which is incredible, there's so many people there that you understand that okay, this is how we're living, so we have that. And I think, you know, with every area of the world, you can learn something. I'm kind of like, you know, it would be cool. Because I remember before the pandemic, when you'd get on a plane, you'd sit next to some guy, and he's just, and it'd be like, it'd be great if this guy was wearing, you're just saying like, oh, so this is what my life's going to look like in 3 days.
Yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I love that I've been able to graduate to the tour bus and the theaters.
Oh yeah, exactly. Dude, it's already, you already don't have a real job, and then you get to travel around like fucking Barry Manilow. It's fucking amazing. Fucking dragging a piano behind you.
I say this a lot, that I really believe anybody who claims that they're on the comedy club circuit because they love comedy is either lying or more mentally ill than I am.
No, I took mushrooms and I finally figured out after 50-something years why I actually do comedy. Like, I thought I did it because I loved comedy. And I realized, no, that's not why I do it. It was the easiest way to go into a room full of people, make them like you, and then they won't beat the shit out of you. That was the subconscious. I need to make people like me so this bullshit stops.
Yeah. Do you travel with a tour bus?
No, I mean, I have the only way to make a tour bus work, I find, is because you got to do like a run of dates.
Yeah.
So you got to pay for the bus, and then you do that stupid rock star thing because the driver's like, "Hey, you want to take off right after the gig?" You're like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's get some of the drive out of the way," and you don't realize that you're paying overtime. Yeah. It was like one time when my wife was pregnant, we were getting work done in the house because we had to make a baby room, so we rented this house. And we fucking heated the pool for the whole fucking month like idiots, not realizing how much it cost. It cost me twice as much what it cost to rent the fucking house. So the tour bus can be like that, where you're like, oh yeah, I paid for it. It costs this much. You don't realize there's overages. So I go out and if I can drive to another gig, because I still love driving. I go out with Club Soda Kenny, and we get like a SUV, and just cruise. And then I like hitting spots, mom and pop spots to eat.
All right, man. If you guys like that video, please hit like and subscribe. It's super late. I'm about to go pass out. I just ate like a shit ton. I don't know if y'all seen that plate, but man, I just ate like a lot of food. So please hit like and subscribe. I could use all the support that I can get. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. And good night. Yo, if you like that video, hit like and subscribe. Do it now with your fingers. Likey, subscribe.